Dramatizations are derived from eyewitness testimony and second-hand accounts.
Armed terrorists seize a passenger jet.
On board, 80 Israelis and one...
They had their fingers itching on the trigger and they wanted to kill us.
Israel gambles all on a desperate rescue mission.
Very exciting moment. No, it's really happening.
If we shall fail, nobody will forgive us.
Using eyewitness accounts and classified intelligence reports, this is the story of how a band of commandos took on a foreign army.
Grenades, bombs, snares, shouting, shooting, hell.
Air France Flight 139 to Paris makes a scheduled stop in Athens to pick up 58 additional passengers. Four of them travel on fake passports. They have no intention of going to Paris. They're working for the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, a radical terror group. The PFLP is one of several anti-Israeli factions set up to regain land lost to the Jewish state during the Six-Day War of 1967. Their preferred tactic is hijacking passenger jets. Pro-Palestinian groups have seized more than 50 aircraft over the past decade. This time, they target Athens Airport, because staff members are on strike. They are counting on security being lax. The gamble pays off. The terrorists board Flight 139, which departed from Tel Aviv in Israel earlier today. There are 246 passengers on board, many of them Israeli. When the plane reaches cruising altitude, the seatbelt sign goes off. That is the terrorists' agreed signal to strike. Passengers see three men and a woman jump to their feet. They brandish handguns and unpin grenades.
Do it now!
Among the terrified passengers, Israeli diplomat Ilan Hartuv and his 74-year-old mother, Dora Bloch.
They had their fingers itching on the trigger and they wanted to kill us. We were all sure of it. We knew these people wanted to kill.
Sarah Davidson is traveling with her husband Uzi and her teenage sons Ron and Benny.
I looked at my children's eyes at that moment. That's what I remember. They had both blue eyes. The blue eyes were looking up there, like if talking to God. Oh God, why it happened to us?
A hijacker storms into the cockpit. He orders the pilot to set the plane on a different course and to kill all radio contact. Air traffic control alerts Israel. Flight 139 has been hijacked. A note is delivered to Israel's Prime Minister, Yitzhak Rabin. This is actual archive footage of the moment he receives the news. Rabin makes sure one man gets word straight away. Deep beneath the Ministry of Defense compound in Tel Aviv is the pit. It's bomb-proof, windowless, and the thumping heart of the Israeli military. Open every day, 24/7. Muki Betzer gets the news. He's acting head of the counter-terrorist squad.
The feeling is one of anger and fury. The terrorists are negotiating off the backs of innocents.
Betzer's unit has dealt with plane hijackings before. In 1972, 12 of its men dressed as ground crew and stormed a hijacked jet at Lod Airport in Tel Aviv. They killed 2 terrorists and freed all 100 passengers. Israel's major airport is placed on high alert. In previous incidents, Palestinian terrorists have forced hijacked planes to land in Israel. Betzer is confident that if the aircraft does come back, they have the know-how to launch an assault. All his radar operators can do is watch and wait. On board, the lead terrorist makes an announcement over the PA system. He explains that they are a unit from the PFLP. He speaks with a German accent. The woman is also German. She orders the passengers to surrender their passports and to prepare to be searched. She hurls anti-Semitic abuse.
Well, the way she looked at us, the way she talked to us.
Passport.
What a parent generation didn't do to Jews, she would do.
Pass it away.
Sarah Davidson's husband, Uzi, is a flight navigator with the Israeli Defense Force. His ID badge is a dead giveaway. He's got to get rid of it before he's searched.
It has to be destroyed, so we chew it, both of us.
They squeeze the chewed up pieces of badge into a used cola can.
Passport. Come on, where is it?
With seconds to spare. Betzer's radar operators report that Flight 139 is not flying to Israel. It's heading towards Libya in North Africa. In another country, the Israeli military has no jurisdiction. 2.5 hours after it was hijacked, the jet lands at Benghazi Airport. Libya is a supporter of the Palestinian cause. The terrorists send a request to President Muammar Gaddafi to refuel. The passengers suffer in sweltering heat for hour after hour. One, Patricia Martel, says she's pregnant and fears losing her baby. The terrorists release her. Finally, after 7 hours, the plane, 42 tons of fuel heavy, takes off. Destination unknown. The freed woman is flown home to London. Israel sends an agent to debrief her. The woman confirms that a radical Palestinian faction has hijacked the plane, and that 2 of the 4 terrorists are German. She picks them out of an intelligence file. The unit identifies them as members of Baader Meinhof, an extreme German terror group. For Betzer, this is chilling news. It means that extremist groups are joining forces to attack Israel. He still doesn't know where they're taking the hostages, or why. Late June 1976. News breaks the Palestinian terrorists have hijacked a passenger jet.
Good evening. An Air France jet was hijacked by Palestinian guerrillas today. On board, some 80 Israelis and 157 other passengers.
For those with relatives on the flight, it is a waking nightmare. French-Israeli Robert Maimoni's only son, 19-year-old Jean-Jacques, is amongst the hostages.
It was the worst hour of my life. I didn't know what to do. I asked myself, what could I do? But I couldn't get an answer.
3 hours after leaving Libya, almost 14 hours into the hijacking, the terrorists force the pilot to land. As day breaks, passengers see dozens of troops gather on the tarmac. At midday, a further 9 hours into the ordeal, they're herded to a disused terminal building. A soldier captures the drama on film as the hostages realize they're at Entebbe Airport in Uganda, a small state in East Africa. Entebbe has been chosen carefully by the terrorists. It's 2,000 miles from Tel Aviv, a distance which should keep it safe from Israeli commandos. Uganda is ruled by dictator Idi Amin. He's famed for being eccentric and unpredictable. Amin arrives at the airport with Ugandan media in tow. On seeing a potential savior, the hostages break into applause.
Oh, we were so happy. We were sure that that's it. It's a finish of the whole story. Because Idi Amin, all of us knew, is a very, very great friend of Israel.
What most hostages don't realize is that Amin has changed his allegiances. At one time, he enjoyed close ties with Israel. Then, in 1972, Israeli Premier Golda Meir refused to provide aircraft for Amin to attack neighboring Kenya. Amin responded by pledging his allegiance to the Palestinian cause. Israel is being challenged by terrorists and an entire army. Fortunately, it's an army that acting head of the counter-terrorist unit, Muki Betsa, knows well. In an extraordinary coincidence, Betsa helped train Ugandan soldiers. He knows their weaknesses.
Their knowledge is very basic. They know how to load a gun, fight in an open field, and read a map.
Then, an even bigger breakthrough. He finds out that an Israeli construction firm built the old terminal at Entebbe. The firm still holds the blueprints. Betsa devours every detail. Before sending a rescue mission, he must know the building inside out. The front of the building has 7 points of entry. Doors 3 and 4 lead directly into the main lounge, where the terrorists hold the hostages. Monday night, the passengers are forced to sleep on the floor with the lights left on. 5 p.m., day 3. A telegram from the terrorists reveals their demands. They want dozens of jailed terrorists released, like Japanese extremist Kozo Akamoto, who carried out a massacre at Israel's Lod Airport in '72, and Archbishop Capucci, who smuggled weapons to terrorists in the Middle East. They set a deadline of Thursday, 2 p.m. This gives the Israelis 45 hours to respond. If their demands aren't met by then, the terrorists will start shooting hostages. Publicly, military commentators insist that Entebbe is too far away for Israel to launch a rescue.
We don't have any military solution. It has to be solved on the political side first.
Relatives know Israel will never negotiate with terrorists. The situation looks hopeless.